Today, we're exploring how sustainability and technology intersect to address environmental challenges while driving growth.
I need to make it stronger,
Mhm.
but the conventional way of doing it is we add fillers, metallic compounds, carbon fiber, various other kinds of nanomaterial to make bioplastics stronger.
Dear listeners, it's incredible to see how innovation can transform everyday waste into something meaningful. Consider the challenges that could transform your business.
Over 300 million tons of these new plastic waste are generated. Very, very little are recycled. We're talking about single-digit percentage are recycled.
Folks, sustainability doesn't have to mean compromise. Aaron's story shows how eco-friendly solutions can outperform traditional methods. Stay tuned for more insights on scaling innovation. Hello and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast, where we spotlight innovations that empower small businesses across Canada. Today, we're exploring how sustainability and technology intersect to address environmental challenges while driving growth. Today's guest is Aaron Guan, a Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree and the founder and CEO of Neptune Nanotechnologies. Aaron's startup transforms crustacean shell into high-performance materials called chitin nanocrystals, creating sustainable solutions for industries like packaging, epoxies, and pulp and paper. Let's dive into his journey, CNC's cutting-edge technology, and the opportunities Neptune is creating for a greener future. Welcome to the show, Aaron. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I very much look forward to be on this podcast.
Definitely. I'm very excited for today's conversation because we're going to talk about the plastic pollution, something which needs to be addressed, but no one's talking about it, right? So let's begin with sustainability and innovation. Turning waste into resources is one of the most effective ways to address global challenges, right? Can you walk us through how Neptune Nanotechnologies transforms fishing waste into chitin nanocrystals and what inspired you to create this innovation?
That's a great question. It really does come back to really the original genesis of addressing the question of sustainability, right? We have a lot of knowledge as a society, as a country, as a world even,
Right.
have a lot of knowledge in advancing technology, and we demand technology. But to address sustainability, we often forget that nature usually already had the answer. And this is something that inspired me to look towards nature. And the genesis story, actually, we'll have to go back to my almost 10 years ago when I was
Oh,
doing
wow.
my master's studies research at the University of Toronto. And my thesis topic was on finding a alternative to the traditional non-biodegradable petrochemical plastics.
Wow, that sounds very interesting, right?
Yeah, and really the idea and the challenge back then was we already had a bioplastics industry, right? It's, for example, certain plastics are coming from plants like PLA, for example. But the challenge here is they're green, yes,
Right.
but they tend to lack performance. They're a little bit weaker, a little bit more expensive than the traditional petrochemical plastics. And my topic back then with the research was I need to make it stronger. But the conventional way of doing it is we add fillers, metallic compounds,
Right.
carbon fiber, various other kinds of nanomaterial to make bioplastics stronger. Yes, it does make it stronger, but it's also defeating the purpose when you're adding something non-sustainable to something that's already good. You're really defeating the purpose. So I had to find a solution, and I looked towards nature, and I'm glad to say that I'm a big fan of seafood. I'm
Right.
particularly like crab meat, but of course, everybody enjoys seafood. But the
Yeah.
challenge is a crab shell is incredibly difficult to break open. And I was fumbling at one dinner, and I couldn't get that crab leg open. It was so hard and tough. But it occurred to me that, hey, if we look towards nature, there's something in the crab shells that we can definitely use. Of course, it's biodegradable. It's
Right.
renewably sourced, and it's so strong. why don't we do something about it? And that really led me into the pathway to discover Kite Nanocrystal. Of course, I do not want to take credit for inventing Kite Nanocrystal. It is really existed in nature. It is nature's work.
But you're just taking it forward to the next step.
Exactly. We really found a scalable methodology to extract and synthesize the nanocrystals from these lobster shell waste. And here we are.
Wow, all of these sounds very interesting, first of all. Secondly, a lot of listeners out there, they don't come from a science background, right? So they might not understand the technicalities of the things that we're talking about. So for a layman, what are the biggest environmental benefits? How would you explain to him for replacing traditional materials with CNCs?
That's a great question. And I have to probably step back a little bit and really address, well, to some of your listeners, to address what is a nanomaterial, first of all,
Right.
and then what benefits does it have. Nano, the word nano is really just a fancy way of saying something that's really, really small.
Right.
A nanometer is really a billionth of a meter. So it's a material that's nearly atomically sized. That's exactly what a Kite nanocrystal is. It is really a lobster shell that we just made nearly atomically sized. At that point, you are removing a lot of the internal flaws that makes the
Right.
material weak. So by doing this, we actually can create a material that's stronger than steel. And that's what exactly Kite
Really?
nanocrystal is. It's
Stronger than steel?
It is stronger than steel.
Okay.
We have really advanced microscopes and scanners that's the size of a single atom, and you can press it and depress it and see the deflection, the
Wow.
bending strength, and the tensile strength are exceeding steel. So as you imagine, you can put something stronger than steel. It's also very similar densities and weights to plastic, so it's very, very lightweight. So as you imagine, you sprinkle this almost like an ingredient, a little bit into your plastics, into your paper packaging. Think about how much strength you can get. That's number one. And number two is, hey, it comes from waste crab shells, right? And so it's fully biodegradable, and that's really the environmental benefit there. And to address the second part of the question, what benefits does it bring when we replace it with traditional materials? I have to walk that back a little bit again. We are not a replacement for plastics. We're not a replacement for packaging. We are the little ingredient that goes in and enhance it. And one way to think about is when we look at, for example, a paper cup that you see from Tim Hortons, right? Paper itself is biodegradable. It's good from an environmental perspective.
Right.
But because it has to contain liquid, it needs to resist water, it needs to resist oil, and paper is not good at that. So the traditional way of doing it is you apply actually a plastic liner on the inside. That blocks the...
So it doesn't absorb the water,
exactly,
right? Yeah.
exactly. But if you do that,
Yeah.
you're mixing plastics and paper together, it becomes almost impossible to recycle. So that's kind of defeating the purpose. How we are doing it is we are burying these little shards of nanocrystal into the paper fiber itself. We directly make it stronger and water and oil resistant in such a way that it's a homogeneous single phase system. So it's all in together, it's all biodegradable, it's all recyclable as a comprehensive solution.
Wow. So whatever I've understood from what you've said, it's that your company is making waves and it's the game changer, right, for the plastic industry.
We absolutely think so.
Right.
Yeah.
Dear listeners, it's incredible to see how innovation can transform everyday waste into something meaningful. Consider the challenges that could transform your business. Now, I'd specifically like to understand the role of paper and pulp in this. How exactly are CNCs improving the sustainability and performance of products in the pulp and paper and epoxy industries, especially?
That's a great question. Let's break it down one at a time, right?
Yeah.
So the first question is, why pulp and paper? And it really comes from a packaging lens. Of course, the vast majority of the pollution out there in terms of solid waste does come from plastics. We're talking about over 300 million tons of these new plastic waste are generated. Very, very little are recycled. We're talking about single-digit percentage are recycled. So where does the rest of it go, right? It goes into landfill, goes into ocean. I'm sure everyone has seen the famous picture of a plastic ring that has constrained a sea turtle. It's an incredibly sad story, and it's something that we wanted to prevent. And as an industry, we already see, both from an industry perspective and a consumer consciousness perspective, we're starting to see a trend already, right? We are shying away from some of the plastic packaging. We're moving towards paper. So paper is a really good alternative, except the problems I've mentioned before, right? In order to achieve the similar levels of performance like plastics or to achieve the water resistance and the strength properties, we have to add plastic coatings, we have to add in other chemical additives in their manufacturing process, and that's not so green.
Right.
So really our positioning is we want to provide a solution that's comprehensive. It uplifts both the performance aspect and the sustainability aspect, and that's exactly what we're trying to do. And that's of course for the plastic, that's of course for the paper packaging. But on the epoxy side, epoxy, I'm sure it's not a super familiar term to a lot of people, but
Right.
it is a highly used in industrial material. All kinds of composite materials that you see in cars, planes, or structural adhesives.
Mhm.
A lot of them are made from epoxies,
Mhm.
and this industry is really also the same thing. It's very big. Everybody wants more performance,
Right.
but we're also trying to eliminate some of the solvents or chemical additives that's made in the epoxy space. And again, chitin nanocrystals can fill that role by again adding a very small amount into epoxies. We're making them stronger, greener, and lighter weight all at the same time.
Wow, this is what I called a thoughtful innovation, right? Now, I'm sure every entrepreneur, he faces a lot of challenges in his journey. On top of your mind, can you tell all of our listeners some of the challenges that you faced introducing CNCs to these industries and explaining your perspective to them and finally getting them on board? How did you navigate that?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. And talking about challenges, where are we?
Right.
Like, as a small company, we face all kinds of challenges every day, right? So, just really from the entrepreneurial journey alone, right? When I started the company, hey, I'm a PhD dropout, by the way, from the University of Toronto,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So, as you can imagine, effectively, I'm a student. I don't have all that much experience
Right.
navigating the world, and you think that you have a world-beating technology, but there's so many steps involved in it, transforming a technology into something that is widely accepted in industry, right? So there is scalability challenges. We're talking about a nanomaterial
Right.
that's made
Operations.
in a little
Yeah.
beaker, right?
Yes.
1 gram at a time. How do we make tons of that stuff? So that is
Mhm.
a technical challenge in scaling. And then the other challenge is when you add it to something, right? It's not easy as in adding salt into your pasta,
Right.
for example. You have to think about all the technical challenges of interface compatibility, scalability, dispersion, right? Without going into too technical, it's actually a very difficult thing to add one thing to another and make sure it works.
Right.
And then the third aspect is really convincing your customers, right? As a new material, right? It's unproven, untested, right? So your value proposition has to resonate strong enough with the customer in order for them to try it. And trying it is really just the very first step. And then there are steps involved. Hey, if it worked by trying it, we have to get into manufacturing,
Right.
right? And there is even more scaling challenges. There is economics. There is all kinds of push and pull from all over the area, and very difficult to navigate. But really, all we have to do is we believe in the idea, we believe in our mission, and we grind every day. And I'm really glad that the world is really paying attention to sustainability. Right?
Now it is, right?
Now
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
And we see a lot of effort moving into sustainability. We see good government programs coming in. We see legislation that's banning some of the more toxic chemicals.
Right.
And we while it's already difficult to do, but we do have a lot of support, and we highly appreciate that.
Wow, scaling any innovative business for that matter, it's always challenging,
Mhm.
right? Especially when you're introducing new things to an already existing traditional business.
Mhm.
Folks, sustainability doesn't have to mean compromise. Aaron's story shows how eco-friendly solutions can outperform traditional methods. Stay tuned for more insights on scaling innovation. Now, Aaron, how is Neptune scaling its production to meet the growing demand, and what opportunities are emerging as you go onto your expansion journey?
That's again a very good question, and it's something that we're in the middle of. So we are a startup company,
Right,
and we're very, very young. We are about 2 years in existence. So, and even in that short year, 2 years of existence, we've already scaled.
right,
So we had to first invent the technology, and then we had to go from lab scale to what we currently have, which is a pilot scale production
right,
in the kilogram capacity. And what this allowed us to do is to be able to work with customers, to sample customers, and have them try our stuff. And now we're at the point that we're getting really good feedback. One of the largest pet food manufacturers, for example, are working with us. And as you imagine, right, huge opportunity, but it's a huge growth challenge as well, right?
right,
Uh, so from a little startup making a couple kilograms here and there to the demand that's in the tens of thousands of ton range, there is a lot of scaling challenges that we have to do. So, of course, there's a technical challenge that we have to build across,
right,
and then we have to, of course, raise funding for it as well,
right,
right? So we're already working with a number of government funding programs.
mhm,
We have graciously supported with a lot of grant money, but of course, we have to work with the private sector as well, venture capital, and it's something that we're in the middle of. Hopefully, that we are bringing a new technology that's valuable to customers, and we can craft that and package that into a convincing story for the investors out there. And really, as a founder, we're really pulling in all the resources together to really build something and to allow that to scale.
definitely. And I think with the kind of work that you're doing, you will get all the fundings out there because this is something which is inspirational and which deserves every ounce of support it can get.
We certainly agree with your mission, but
Right.
fundraising is never a
Right.
easy journey.
Right.
And thank you for the word of encouragement. We are getting good traction. We're getting
Right.
good interest, but funding is never easy. There's a lot of nuances involved. There's a
Right.
lot of validations involved, and we're working hard at that. And uh, hopefully by the end of next year, it'll probably take a little bit over a year to scale and build.
Right.
But really by 26. We will have a demonstration, a near commercial scale demonstration plan, ready to roll.
Great, and we all are looking forward to it. Now, exactly what you said, scaling any business is no small feat, but it's exciting to hear how you tackle all these challenges and position Neptune's growth. Stay tuned, listeners, and after the break, we'll dive into how customer feedback is vital in refining innovative solutions. Stay with us.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. Still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep. That's all us. That's all UPS.
Four billion people check their email every day. That's 4 billion missed opportunities if your message doesn't make it. To reach your customer's inbox, you need a winning strategy. And Constant Contact delivers. Literally, over 97% deliverability. Elevate your email game with easy-to-use templates, writing assistants powered by AI, and in-depth metrics. Ensuring your email is flawless, delivered, and read. Constant Contact delivers. Give it a try.
At IHG Hotels and Resorts, we're in the business of you. help you plug in,
connect and recharge,
make an impression,
and meet with confidence.
With 19 brands built for business,
your business gets even more rewarding.
With an award-winning loyalty program at 6,000 IHG hotels and resorts worldwide.
Welcome back. Let's now discuss how customer feedback helps Neptune Nanotechnologies create impactful and user-focused solutions. Now, in your opinion, Aaron, does these collaborations play in helping you scale and expand CNC's applications to new industries?
Oh, fantastic question, right? So, as a founder of a startup, really we are about leveraging resources.
Right.
That's really what our chief job is, right? And to think about really the scaling and really the long-term applications. If you look at how we're positioned, right? We make a nanomaterial, and this nanomaterial can potentially go into so many different applications. But as a small company with limited resources, we have to find the right areas or attack vector, if you will, to really find the industry that is
because it's trial and error, right? Till
exactly.
you find that perfect fit.
Exactly. So we have to find what we consider a low-hanging fruit where the value proposition and really the scalability all line up, right? So that's what we're focused on internally as our own team with customers. But we can't leave all that potential left there untapped. So this is where two other really important parties come into play. We have the government support programs on the grant front.
Right.
That's highly assistive to us. And then we have the university network, the research partners. So shout out to U of T, Waterloo, and York U, which are all of our partners.
Right.
What our model is, we are partnering up with these universities. We're doing what we consider a cutting edge fundamental research to find new avenues, convert them into new intellectual properties, and then into new markets that really fuels our pipeline for growth. So we have low-hanging fruits that we attack. We build the revenue stream first. We grow the company. We establish a base while we are leveraging so many helps from partners to ensure that we have a continued pipeline of innovation that carries forward.
Wow. Dear listeners, growth is about more than just scaling up. It's about scaling smart. Think about how your business can expand while staying aligned with its mission and values. So I have a lot of questions in my mind. So first of all, I'm sure in these 2 years of your tenure as a small business, the customer feedback is also very important, right? Now, how does customer feedback especially reshape the development of your CNC technology and ensure that it meets the client's needs?
That's a great question, and really we have to go back to the lean startup mentality. Really is, if you're trying to sell to a customer, their demand, they're always right? They know what they need. They know the performance target that you need to hit. So what a typical model for us is, we pitch our solution to the customer. They get really impressed because, shamelessly speaking, I do think it's an impressive technology, but it's never going to be a one-size-fits-all solution, right? Some customers, they care more about the performance. Some care more about the sustainability. Some mix of both. Some more care about really the cost balance, right? And even when you drill down, even on the performance side, some worry more about the strength of it. Some more worry about the oil or water resistance of it, right? So there's a lot of tailor-made tuning that we have to do. So we do only make one product, the nanocrystal, but the product has to adapt in various forms, right? For example, the pulp and paper industry, we can introduce a great idea, but it's a capital-intensive industry already. You cannot expect your customers to change their manufacturing process just to adapt a new technology. We have to fit them. So we have to develop what we consider a colloidal concentrate, so a water-based nanocrystal that can go directly into the pulp mixing tank. So that's the level of customization that we do. But of course, now on the flip side, we're also in epoxies, right? Epoxies and water, they don't mix, right? So we have to find a alternative packaging solution, an alternative dispersion, having our nanocrystals loaded inside what we consider a master batch concentrate that again is directly compatible with epoxies. So a lot of this is R&D, to put it more fancily, but it's trial and error based on customer feedback.
Right.
We have to really listen to them carefully, knowing exactly what they need and tailor our solutions to them.
Wow, that was a lot of information, and my mind is still processing all of this. But the innovation that you guys have done, I think it's incredible at this point of time, and all of us are supporting you with immense hearts, right?
Thank you.
And it's also focused on the fact that, I was just reading about it. Research shows that 79% of businesses that integrate sustainability into their operational experience, they feel enhanced brand loyalty, and customer retention rate is also much higher if you compare it to others, right? From your expertise, Aaron, how do these sustainable practices contribute to driving growth and fostering deeper customer engagement? Because at the end of the day, that is what values the most, right?
Exactly. Again, fantastic question on the sustainability. I'm really glad that everyone already is taking sustainability seriously. It's taking our environmental issues
High
very
time.
seriously.
Right.
It is really about
Right.
time, but it's never
Yeah.
too late.
Right.
We're seeing a lot of effort going into it, anywhere from the government levels to down to the small
Right.
businesses. And really, how we think about sustainability is it's absolutely necessary, but
Right.
also we have to implement it in such a way that that promotes business. So I am a material scientist background, and when we think about sustainability, there's a lot of sustainable solutions that ends up sacrificing other vital features of material. For example, makes them weaker, makes them more expensive. We strive to be different. We want to make sure that, hey, not only is our nanocrystal sustainable, but it also has to bring in a performance advantage. Simultaneously, it has to be affordable. We can't
Right.
create too much of a cost barrier.
Because
So
only then will the other industries adopt as well.
exactly. Sustainability, we're of course putting a lot of resources into it,
Right.
but at that point, we cannot be a detriment to really the core business.
Right. You
The
also
core
need
business-
performance. And
Exactly.
results.
So
Yeah.
it has to be both, and we strive to be both. And we see that once you have both of these pieces together, and then the third component is it cannot be cost prohibitive as well. So when you have the balance of all three of these components, it makes at least the idea of adoption a relatively easy sell. And then you just have to really carry your promises forward as you scale.
Wow, that's very well framed. Now let's talk about, I'm very excited to know this deeply, about the larger vision for Neptune Nanotechnologies and the future of material science.
Fantastic question again, and it's a very, very big question as well. So, of course, as a startup founder, as an entrepreneur, you got to be ambitious, right? You
Right.
have to have a big picture.
Right.
So, even the industries that the two that we're targeting, paper packaging, epoxies, they're combined over $60 billion in opportunity already. So, even these two opportunities alone, that's already massive in scale. But how we're positioned is we think about the chitin nanocrystal itself as a technology enabler. Like, shameless to say that, like, I also sort of have the AI
That's
mentality
okay.
to it,
Yeah.
right? AI enables a number of industries. That's how we think about our technology. It is an ingredient that enables performance and sustainability together in many, many industries, right? I mentioned paper packaging, I mentioned epoxies, but plastics is
Right.
in our pipeline. Biomedical implants, the implantable devices. Did I mention that chitin nanocrystal is antimicrobial as well? So in the post-COVID
Wow.
world, right? So healthcare
Is there
important.
anything that this product is not? I think that should have been the question.
We have to give credit to nature. It is millions of years
Right.
of evolution in creating something that we can tap into. So again, we see this as a platform enabler into many, many industries. But of course, it takes years of planning and investments to play out. We're glad that in Canada, the small business have such an environment that we both get the academic support from universities as well as the government support from grant programs so that we can really leverage our investment to make sure that it stretches as far as possible. But again, we have big plans for Neptune, and we see us growing into a really a massive force in the sustainability world.
Definitely amen to that, and definitely Neptune Nanotechnologies has that potential to reach there because, as I'd like to call this material, magic material, because it just fits in everywhere with the right capacity. Thank you so much, Aaron, for sharing your vision and journey with us. It's clear that Neptune is making a lasting impact on sustainability and innovation. Now, before we let you go, one last advice that you'd like to give to all the small business owners. How important do you think sustainability is when it comes to integrating in your own business and your own practices?
Again, a very, very good question, right? So small businesses, I appreciate the challenge of being a small business owner, right? Making the bottom line, making a product is already difficult enough. But we really do have to think about really the long-term impact on the world, just really from an altruistic perspective of as our responsibility to society.
Right.
It's something I want to think about, but something to put in practice. Sustainability is not a huge overhead cost if you implement it right. From as simple as just having a better recycling plan on allocating your recycled aluminum to paper correctly, right? Just these little steps can already go a long way. So I'm not advocating the small business to write huge checkbooks in implementing large sustainability programs. That's not feasible. But even from just the little steps that we take, making our process a little bit more efficient, a little bit less energy intensive, treat the end of life of, for example, waste material a little bit better, segregate them better for the downstream recycler. Just these little things, they all add up.
Wow, very well said again, and very right. I think these are the very small things that make big of a difference, right? And if we inculcate that in our daily routines as small and medium businesses, I think that alone will make a lot of difference. That was Aaron. Thank you so much for being there in this podcast and gracing us with your valuable insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you. A very warm thank you to our guest Aaron Guan for sharing his journey and the incredible work Neptune Nanotechnologies does to create sustainable, high-performance materials. We discuss sustainability, scaling innovation, and the future of material science. Aaron's work proves that small businesses can solve global challenges. A special thank you to our partners RBC, UPS, Constant Contact, IHG Hotels and Resorts, and Google for their continued support in helping us bring valuable insights to our listeners. For more stories like this, visit CanadianSME.ca and subscribe to the Canadian SME Small Business Magazine. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. This is Kripa Anand signing off.